Welcome back to Insight OS. Being nice isn't just polite. It is a strategic weapon. Let's learn how to use it.
So, let's get right to it. The single most common tactical error people make is going on the attack. I'm talking about criticism, complaining, all of it. These are completely useless tools if you actually want to change someone's behavior. We're going to break down exactly why that approach is doomed to fail, and then we're going to give you a much better toolkit.
You see, criticism is like a boomerang. It feels good to throw, but it has a nasty habit of coming right back and hitting you in the face. Why? Because it immediately puts people on the defensive, it wounds their pride, and it creates resentment that can last for years. It's a self-defeating tactic. And to prove it, let's look at two quick case studies.
So, picture this. A young Abraham Lincoln, long before he was president, loved to publicly ridicule his opponents. One time, he wrote this savage letter in the newspaper just tearing into a politician named James Shields. Well, Shields found out who wrote it, and he got so angry he challenged Lincoln to a duel. Yeah, a duel to the death. They actually met on a riverbank, swords drawn, ready to fight. It was only because their friends jumped in at the last second that nobody died.
That near-death experience taught Lincoln a lesson he never ever forgot. He said that condemnation is useless because it's a homing pigeon. It always returns to you. He finally realized that dealing with people isn't a game of logic, it's a game of emotion. After that day, he basically never criticized anyone ever again, and that discipline became one of his greatest strengths as a leader.
Now let's jump forward in time. Let's talk about the legendary test pilot, Bob Hoover. He was up in the air in this old plane when suddenly both engines just died. He managed to land it, saving everyone, which was a miracle in itself. And what was the cause? The mechanic had accidentally filled the plane with the wrong kind of fuel, a catastrophic amateur mistake.
Can you just imagine being that young mechanic? You're just paralyzed with fear and shame. You almost killed 3 people. So what did Hoover do? Did he scream at him? Fire him? Nope. He walked right over, put his arm around the guy, and said, "To prove I'm sure you'll never do this again, I want you to service my F-51 tomorrow." Just think about that. In that one moment, Hoover created absolute, unbreakable loyalty. He guaranteed that mechanic would never make that mistake again.
Okay, so we've established what to avoid. Criticism. Got it. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about what to attack. And what we're targeting is the single biggest vulnerability that is hardwired into every single human being.
This is it. This is the master key. The deepest, most powerful urge in human nature is the desire to feel important. This is the code that drives everything, from Lincoln wanting to be president to Rockefeller wanting to build an empire. Every single person you meet, from the janitor to the CEO, is running on this same operating system. Think of it this way. We all understand physical hunger, right? You need to eat. Well, this ego hunger is just as powerful, just as real. And here's the crazy part. We'll buy our friends dinner to feed their physical hunger, but we let them starve for the recognition their ego desperately needs. So here's the hack. If you can become one of the very rare people who understands how to satisfy this deep, gnawing hunger for importance in other people, you gain an almost unfair advantage. People will literally gravitate towards you because you are providing the one thing they crave more than anything else. All right, enough theory, let's get tactical. Here's our first deployable protocol. This is a simple 3-second tool you can start using immediately to tap into that core drive.
Let me just ask you a question. Out of every single sound in the entire world, what is the one that matters the most to any individual person?
That's it. It's not, "I love you." It's not, "You just won the lottery." It's their own name. A person's name is their entire identity, their whole self wrapped up in one single sound. When you use it, you're not just getting their attention, you're acknowledging their very existence. You're telling them they are important.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The masters of influence knew this. Andrew Carnegie built a steel empire, and he prided himself on knowing thousands of his workers by name. Napoleon did the exact same thing with the soldiers. They understood that remembering and using a name is a subtle but incredibly powerful form of validation.
From a purely tactical perspective, think of a name as a wake-up call for the brain. You can be in a crowded, noisy room and yell, "Hey, excuse me," a dozen times and get nothing. But whisper their name just once, and their head will snap around. You instantly capture 100% of their mental bandwidth. It cuts through all the noise and focuses them entirely on you.
Now let's pull back and put this into the bigger picture. We've got our tactic, use their name.
We've got our avoidance protocol, no criticism. The next step is the overarching strategy. You have to frame every single interaction from their point of view.
This fishing analogy is everything. You have to get this. When you go fishing, you don't bait the hook with what you like. I like strawberries and cream, but guess what? Fish like worms, so I use worms. It's blindingly obvious with fish, but we forget this with people constantly.
So what does this actually mean? It means you have to stop talking about what you want. I'm serious. Nobody cares about what you want. They only care about what they want. So the only way to influence anybody is to talk in terms of their interests. Show them how your idea helps them solve their problems. That is the bait they literally cannot resist.
You know who has absolutely mastered this strategy? The dog. Think about it. A hen has to lay eggs. A cow has to give milk. What does a dog have to do? Nothing. A dog makes its living by being completely, totally, ecstatically interested in you. It masters the art of baiting the hook, and in return, it gets everything. Food, shelter, love. It works.
Okay, let's put all of this together. Let's consolidate these principles into an actionable toolkit that you can deploy in your very next conversation.
Here are your 4 basic protocols. Number 1, never criticize, condemn, or complain. It's a boomerang, remember? Number 2, feed their hunger for importance. Find something to honestly appreciate. Number 3, use their name. It's the sweetest sound they'll ever hear. And number 4, always bait the hook. Frame the conversation around their interests, not yours.
Look, this isn't about being fake or manipulative. It's about understanding the fundamental laws of human psychology and operating within that system. You now have the protocols to disarm anyone's defensiveness and build a powerful connection, sometimes in a matter of seconds.
Kindness is a shield, but sometimes you need a sword. Next, we enter the dark side.